When an organization hires a new employee without a precise understanding of what the role actually requires, they are essentially guessing. And forcefully inserting a mismatched part into a complex machine is a fast way to grind the entire system to a halt. To avoid that system failure, HR professionals use a diagnostic procedure called job analysis. This is the methodical process of determining exactly what duties a job entails and the specific human traits a person needs to perform them successfully. This investigation yields two distinct outputs. First, the job description, which outlines the work itself, the daily tasks and responsibilities. Second, the job specification, which identifies the person required, the specific skills, education, and experience needed to do that work. Looking at this flowchart of the job analysis process, we can see how raw job data is gathered and then split into those two core documents, the job description and the job specification. Achieving this requires a rigorous, step-by-step approach. Before starting Step 1, an analyst needs a few prerequisites. You must select the specific positions to be analyzed, secure a current organizational chart to see how those roles fit into the broader company, and ensure you have access to the employees currently performing the work. Without this foundational blueprint, decisions regarding hiring or compensation lack a technical baseline. When the underlying understanding of the role is incomplete, it creates a disconnect between the company's needs and how its employees are managed. Step 1 is deciding exactly how you will use the information you are about to gather. The goal dictates the method, so you have to define your strategic intent before collecting a single piece of data. This diagram shows the 4 primary applications for job analysis data. Your goal might be generating recruiting and selection decisions, establishing baselines for performance appraisals, determining job evaluation for compensation sizing, or identifying specific training requirements. Once the purpose is clear, Step 2 is the physical collection of the job data. Analysts typically rely on 4 acceptable methods: conducting structured interviews, distributing written questionnaires, performing direct observation of the worker, or asking employees to maintain chronological participant diaries. Regardless of whether you use an interview or a diary, this graphic illustrates the 6 distinct categories of information you must extract: work activities, human behaviors, the machines or tools used, performance standards, job context, and the human requirements. The primary vulnerability during this collection phase is human bias. Employees often unintentionally distort or exaggerate the complexity of their daily duties when they know they are being observed or evaluated. Raw data contaminated by this bias is useless for sizing a role accurately. Objective, methodical collection is the only way to capture the reality of the work. Because of that potential for bias, Step 3 is the mandatory verification of all the raw data you've collected. This requires a cross-examination by 2 specific parties: the worker who actually performs the daily tasks and their immediate supervisor who oversees the output. This dual verification process acts as a filter for inaccuracies. It resolves discrepancies between what the employee thinks they do and what management expects them to do, grounding the final data in operational reality. Unverified data is merely an employee's opinion, but once the supervisor signs off on the findings, that verified data becomes the official operational standard for the position. Step 4 translates this verified data into the formal job description. This written statement clearly codifies what the worker actually does, how they do it, and the conditions under which the work is performed. This sample document shows the structural header of a standard job description. It begins with the precise job identification details, like the title, department, and reporting structure, followed by a high-level summary that describes the general nature and major functions of the role. Under primary responsibilities, list major duties in order of importance, quantifying time spent on each task, such as allocating 60 minutes. With the work defined, Step 5 requires extracting the specific human requirements needed to successfully execute those duties. This forms the job specification. The boundary here is strict. The description outlines the work, while the specification outlines the person. Looking back at our sample document, this section details those human requirements. It translates the necessary traits into measurable parameters, establishing clear baselines like a required bachelor's degree, prior sales experience, and specific technical proficiencies. Analysts derive these specifications in 2 ways:
either through educated judgment based on industry standards or through rigorous statistical analysis that links specific human traits directly to past job performance. Writing a job description without a job specification creates an incomplete picture. It perfectly describes a complex machine, but completely fails to identify the specialized operator required to run it safely.
Following this 5-step procedure transforms scattered observational data into verified operational documentation. Returning to our process flowchart, we can see how these finalized outputs, the description and the specification, now feed directly into the central hub of human resource management. Organizations apply these documents immediately. They use them to draft highly targeted job advertisements, engineer precise training programs tailored to specific skill gaps, and conduct performance evaluations based on the verified standards established during the analysis. Ultimately, job analysis is the technical baseline for the role, a practical tool converting daily tasks into a structured foundation for the enterprise.